There's a car parked on a lot right now that cost $80,000 new. Today it's priced less than used Civic. Nobody's buying it. Nobody's even looking at it. That's not an accident, and it's not because the car is broken. It's because of a rumor, a reputation, a badge that fell out of fashion, and almost nobody stops to ask if any of that is still true. We're counting down 7 of these cars from 7 down to 1. By the end, you'll know exactly why they're this cheap and exactly what to check before you take advantage of it. Let's go. Number 7, Lincoln Continental. Number 7 is the Lincoln Continental, and it's the car most people drive past without a second glance because the name Lincoln just doesn't carry the weight it used to. That's a shame because underneath the badge is one of the most comfortable full-size sedans you can put your hands on for this kind of money. Step inside one, and the first thing you notice is how quiet it is. This was engineered for long highway hauls, the kind of trips where road noise wears you down over 3 hours, and the Continental simply doesn't let that happen. The back seat is genuinely spacious too. Legroom that a lot of German competitors twice the price don't bother giving you because they're chasing sportiness instead of comfort. This car never tried to be sporty. It tried to be a living room on wheels, and it succeeded. Before you buy one, pay close attention to the air suspension if the trim has it. That's the single component that turns from a comfort feature into a repair bill if it's been ignored for years. Ask the seller directly for transmission fluid records too. A car that's had that fluid changed on schedule tells you everything about how seriously the previous owner took maintenance. The honest reliability picture here is better than the reputation suggests. Most complaints floating around online are about the infotainment system freezing occasionally, not the engine or transmission failing. That's an annoyance you live with, not a bill that ruins your month. The Continental isn't cheap because it's bad. It's cheap because Lincoln stopped being a name people chase, and the car simply never got the chance to prove that wrong to a new generation of buyers. Number 6, Infiniti Q70. Number 6 is the Infiniti Q70, and this is the one on the list that genuinely surprises people the first time they put their foot down. Depending on the trim, you're looking at a V6 or a V8 under the hood, and the V8 in particular delivers acceleration that feels completely out of place for what this car costs used today. What makes it work as a daily driver, though, isn't just the power. It's that Infiniti wrapped, that engine in a genuinely quiet, leather-lined cabin that doesn't feel like a stripped-down performance special. You get both sides of the equation, a car that can move when you want it to and settles back into comfortable cruiser mode the second you let off the gas. The catch, and you should know this going in, is fuel economy on the V8 trims. It's genuinely thirsty, so if daily commuting is the plan, factor that cost into your monthly budget before the acceleration numbers talk you into something impractical. Get a pre-purchase inspection focused specifically on the suspension bushings. That's the known where item once these cars cross into higher mileage territory. On the mechanical side, the engine and transmission combination has a strong track record well past 150,000 miles when a maintenance schedule was actually followed. What ages these cars faster than the drivetrain is the interior tech. The infotainment screen feels dated next to anything built in the last few years, even on an otherwise perfectly healthy car. Infiniti gets overlooked constantly in favor of the 3 big German names, even when the actual ownership experience holds up just as well, sometimes better, for considerably less money out the door. Number 5, Cadillac XDS. Number 5 is the Cadillac XDS, a car that used to shuttle executives to airports for a living and did it well enough that the limousine industry kept buying it for years. That's the kind of endorsement you don't get from marketing. You get it from an entire industry deciding a car is comfortable enough to put paying customers in it every single day. That comfort is still exactly what you're buying today. The back seat room is excellent. The ride is smooth in a way that soaks up highway imperfections rather than transmitting them into the cabin. And depending on how it was optioned, the tech package includes features that German competitors were charging thousands extra for during the same model years. The one thing to test thoroughly before buying is the CUE infotainment system. It was the most criticized part of this car when new, laggy, occasionally unresponsive, And while later updates improve things meaningfully, older units can still show their age. Spend real time with it during your test drive rather than glancing at it for 10 seconds. If you're looking at the all-wheel drive version specifically, ask for service history on that system too, since it's mechanically more complex than the standard setup. Under the skin, the engine is a proven unit used across multiple GM vehicles for years, and it holds up well over time. Almost everything that goes wrong on these cars traces back to electronics, not the drivetrain itself. Frustrating in the moment, rarely expensive to actually fix. American luxury sedans got written off by a lot of buyers roughly a decade ago, and that reputation never fully recovered, even as the cars themselves kept improving underneath it. Number 4. Volvo S90. Number 4 is the Volvo S90. And if you care about what happens in a worst-case scenario on a road, this is arguably the safest car on this entire list. Volvo built its entire brand around this idea decades ago, and the S90 carries every bit of that engineering forward, with driver assistance technology that was genuinely ahead of most competitors when it first launched. But safety isn't the only reason to care about this car. Step inside, and the interior materials feel like they belong in something costing considerably more. Soft-touch surfaces, thoughtful design details, and a cabin that photographs well years after the car left the factory, because Volvo simply didn't cut corners on what you touch and see every day. That's not something every luxury sedan on this list can claim once the miles start adding up. The one area that demands attention is the turbocharged engine found on most trims. This is not a car to buy from someone who stretched their oil change intervals to save a few dollars here and there. Ask directly and specifically about turbo-related service history before you commit to anything. A well-documented example and a neglected one are two completely different ownership experiences wearing the same badge. When that maintenance has actually been kept up, the drivetrain proves solid well past the 100,000-mile mark without drama. What complaints do exist tend to center on minor electrical quirks rather than anything structural or connected to the engine and transmission. Volvo simply doesn't carry the brand cachet of a Mercedes or a BMW in most buyers' minds walking onto a lot, even though the engineering quality and interior craftsmanship genuinely compete at the same level. Number 3. Jaguar XF. Number 3 is the Jaguar XF, and this is the car on the list built by people who clearly cared more about how it feels from behind the wheel than how many boxes it checks on a spec sheet. Many trims use aluminum body construction to cut weight, and you feel that the moment you turn into a corner. This drives sharper than almost anything else in its segment, luxury or otherwise. The design has aged remarkably well too. A lot of luxury sedans start looking dated within a few years of launch, chasing whatever trend was popular at the time. The XF didn't do that. It looks distinctive today in a way that doesn't scream old car the way some competitors from the same era already do. And that alone makes it feel like a smarter buy than the price tag suggests. Here's where you need to slow down though. Jaguar's reliability reputation has real roots. Specific electrical and cooling system issues on certain model years that genuinely happened and genuinely frustrated owners. This is not a car to buy on a whim or a gut feeling. Get a full pre-purchase inspection, request a complete and honest service history, and do not skip this step to save a few $100s, because it's the difference between a smart buy and an expensive mistake. Later model years addressed a meaningful chunk of those earlier complaints, which means the specific year you're looking at matters more here than with almost any other car on this list. Do the homework on your exact model year before you commit to anything. The reputation from over a decade ago still trails this badge today, even on the years where the actual problems were largely engineered out. Number 2, Genesis G80. Number 2 is the Genesis G80, and this is genuinely the sleeper pick on this entire list. The newest brand here, which sounds like it should be a disadvantage, but actually works in your favor as a buyer. Step inside, and the interior quality catches people off guard every single time, because it rivals cars costing significantly more from brands with decades more history behind them. What makes this one different from everything else on the list is the warranty coverage. Genesis backs these cars with protection that outlasts almost everything else in the segment. which means a lot of the risk that normally comes with a used luxury purchase simply isn't there in the same way. You're buying a genuinely modern car, built with modern tolerances and modern tech, a used car price point that doesn't match what you're actually getting. The honest caveat here is that long-term reliability data is thinner than it is on more established badges, simply because the brand hasn't been around as long. That's not a red flag, it's just a reality. There isn't a decade of ownership reports to lean on yet the way there is with Volvo or BMW. The smart move is sticking to a certified, pre-owned example whenever you can find one, since the remaining factory warranty coverage removes most of the uncertainty that comes with buying into a newer name. Early ownership reports and warranty claim data both point toward a genuinely well-built car with very few widespread issues showing up so far. The only real reason nobody's fighting over these in the used market is brand awareness. Plenty of buyers don't even realize Genesis exists as its own dedicated luxury brand, separate from Hyundai, and they scroll straight past it without knowing what they just skipped. Number 1. BMW 7 Series. And that brings us to number 1. The BMW 7 Series, specifically the generation right before the most recent redesign. This was the technology flagship of the entire brand. The car where BMW tested features first before they eventually trickled down into every cheaper model in the lineup a few years later. You're buying yesterday's cutting edge today at a fraction of what it cost the people who paid for it first. The driving experience is the part that still catches people off guard. A car this large has no business feeling this engaging from behind the wheel, but BMW built its reputation on exactly that contradiction. Comfort and control existing in the same package without one canceling out the other. The cabin is quiet, the ride is composed, and yet it still responds like a BMW when you actually want it to. This is also, honestly, the most expensive car on this entire list to fix if something goes wrong. So a proper pre-purchase inspection is not optional here. Treat it as a requirement, not a suggestion. Pay specific attention to the air suspension and the broader electronics package, because those are the two components most likely to generate a genuinely large repair bill if they've been neglected. If a seller can't produce a real, documented service history, that's your answer, and you should walk away without a second thought. When properly maintained on schedule, the drivetrain itself proves genuinely strong over time. Almost every serious complaint you will find traces back to deferred maintenance, not a fundamental design flaw, which means a well-documented example and a neglected one are two entirely different cars wearing the exact same badge. Depreciation on flagship luxury sedans is brutal, and most buyers assume expensive German car automatically means expensive to own, without ever checking whether the specific car in front of them was actually taken care of. That lazy assumption is the entire reason this opportunity exists, and exactly why it earns the number 1 spot today. 7 cars, 7 different reasons for the same story. A reputation problem, an old rumor that never got updated, or a badge that simply fell out of fashion. None of that tells you what the actual car sitting in front of you is worth. Only an inspection and a real service history can do that. If this helped you see the used luxury market a little differently, that's exactly what this channel does every week. No sponsors, no hype, just the honest numbers. Subscribe if you want to stay ahead of the next one. There's a lot more of these hiding in plain sight. See you in the next video.